Hi, welcome to Uncharted Hell. I am Violetta. I will be your guide to some lesser known horror movies, and I am so psyched today. I'm so happy because finally we're going to get to the purpose of this channel, which is to discuss, analyze, promote lesser known horror, indies, etc., so I can talk about it. And I'm not kidding. Everybody around me got fucking sick of me talking about horror all the time. So this way I can talk as much as I want whether people are watching. Anyway, hence, that's why I'm here. So I get to start talking on that because really the subgenres really was just practice. So I could learn even the video edits to get to this point. I know, it's sad, but still. So I'll probably end up deleting that anyway. And that's the thing. It has taken me so long. This is my third effort on this podcast. And I know that's sad and pathetic, but it turns out you can teach an old dog new tricks, but it takes a long fucking time and a lot of effort. And in my case, doing every possible wrong way you can do it, and then just process of elimination, figuring it out. Seriously. I'm hoping, I have green all around here. I'm hoping I can get that fucking green screen to work, but I know it's going to be noisy. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm having to use QuickTime because MB was gracious and wonderful enough to buy me my new used MacBook that I love, and I am not about to ask him for a GoPro. And my i7 Plus is a piece of shit, and the sound's really bad on it. Let me tell you something, the best iPhone you can get is a Samsung. It's what I'm planning on doing. Anyway, today we're going to do Starry Eyes. We're going to do the intro to Starry Eyes, and as I said before, if you watched any of the earlier, the first, let me get back to this. Any movie, I will divide in at least two parts, sometimes three. The first part is introduction, and all that is bare bones synopsis, because all people who spoil should die, and I'm not going to be one of them. So just the least information you could get to figure out whether it's something you'd be interested in watching or not. Talk about the creators, the people who were in it, any kind of interest in cultural significance or history, trivia, so forth. Then the next episode, I'm going to talk the shit out of it. So the first episode, if you haven't seen it, then you're fine. I'm not going to give you any spoilers at all. But after that, I am going to talk the shit out of that movie. I mean, not just event by event, but maybe even line by line sometimes. I'm going to analyze it because this is what I've found, and this is why I've started this. It's so much fun. I will watch a movie, say Starry Eyes, Black Coat's Daughter, Possession, and it will get to me, get under my skin, and I'll be thinking about it and thinking about it. And these questions will start coming up, and I start analyzing. It's like, oh, fuck, I didn't think about this. And, I've discovered all kinds of allegories and metaphors, Easter eggs, things that nobody else seems to notice. It is so much fun. Now, granted, I don't know if I could do that with Let's Scare Jessica. That actually might be a one-episode movie. But I always want, ideally, you would watch the intro, get the synopsis, figure out whether you're interested or not, go watch it, and then come back. But, if you want to know everything that's going on in the movie, that's what's going to happen, because that is what I'm going to do. So, today, Starry Eyes. Oh, one more thing. And I also have to hurry. One of the reasons that this is my third effort is the other two were going way too long. And that's going to be a problem because I love horror so much. I want to talk the shit out of it and get way bogged down in details. I can't even do that today because we have not one but two fucking weddings to go to. The only fun wedding I've ever been to was my own. It was 15 minutes long. The reception was 8 hours. That's the way it's supposed to be. Marriage didn't turn out too well, but the wedding was great. Anyway, I gotta go to these folks' wedding, and so I really want to get this out today because it looks like I've been fucking off all this time, and I really haven't. I have been working hard, again, just to get to this point. This can get better. I'm just going in my next acquisition. I want a decent mic, and we'll just keep going that way. Okay. Anyway, the other day, MB and I watched Possession, 1981, Andrzej Zulawski, Possession, with the beautiful Isabelle Adjani and Sam Neill. Now, I saw this movie when I was a kid and thought it was an utter piece of shit. The only thing I remembered was Isabelle Adjani's complete freak out in the tunnel scene, which is just an awesome sight to behold. And I mean awesome in the God sense of the word. It is the Mac Daddy of all freakouts. It's fucking wonderful. That I remembered. Everything else was just a big mess and it just sucked. I hated it. But since I'm trying to build this DVD collection of lesser known horror, and since then I've been reading all these great reviews. And I was like, well, if all these people think that, maybe I should try to rethink it, which critical reappraisal, it happens. I've noticed that with myself. Some movies I didn't like earlier, I like now. Well, there's a reason though. Because when the movie hit America, the movie was a French-German joint. When it hit America, they still had The Exorcist in mind. This is so early on, 81. So when they hear the word possession, they were trying to turn it into some kind of Reagan O'Neill shit. And it was a disaster because they cut 45 minutes out. So it didn't even make sense. It's hard enough to make sense as it is. But I can't have the opportunity. I buy 95% of my DVDs on eBay, usually secondhand. But I have found a few good sources where I can get new DVDs cheap. One of them is a Korean place. You know, if you don't mind Korean writing on the front and the back, and I do not, I am not a collector's edition kind of gal, then it's really cheap. And I got this for $3 fucking and like $2 shipping. What the hell? $5 lost, that's, you know, a white girl cup of coffee. Anyway, so MB and I watched it. And all the next day when I think about it, I went, huh, what the fuck? You know, and it's like, at first, not even sure you like the movie or not. But then, the more I started thinking about it, the more sense it made, because it's supposed to be, nothing in it's supposed to be literal. It's supposed to be an allegory for Andrzej Zulawski's divorce, which apparently was really messy. And so when you go back and see that's all the symbolism and the metaphors and everything, it's a whole different movie. There's a reason I'm talking about Possession, because it is, in a way, indirectly related to Starry Eyes. Now, the significance of 1981's Possession is that it was a big influence on these guys. This is Dennis Widmeyer and Kevin Kelch, not Kolch like I'd been saying, but Kelch. They are the co-directors and writers of Starry Eyes. They are also longtime collaborators and friends. They've been working together for more than 20 years. They already had a couple of well-regarded features and several of well-regarded horror shorts, which I wish I could find, before they took on Starry Eyes. And now they have moved on to bigger and arguably better things with Pet Sematary. I've heard mixed things about it. I haven't seen it myself yet, but I'm just glad that it's earned enough money where they can continue with their projects so they can make some quality horror. But the great thing is, this all came about because of successful crowdfunding. So Kickstarter is not completely useless, and they had a goal of raising $50,000. They actually ended up earning $53,000. Then Travis Stevens, producer of Cheap Thrills and several other horror thrillers, he kicked in a little bit, as well as Dark Skies Productions. Having said that, it was still very much a micro-budgeted movie. And it's remarkable when you see that, because the production values are excellent, the performances are excellent, the writing and direction was wonderful. I believe this is going to become a minor horror classic as we go along. But I guess it does show that crowdfunding can work with the right people. Very often you'll have these would-be movie makers, they collect a bunch of money, and then about mid-movie they lose interest and flake out. And I don't know what happens to the money. I guess they return it. The only time I ever used a Kickstarter was for a friend's medical bills. But anyway, it can be used for good things, good artistic things. And here's a poster. And they also had like an art contest. They had a contest for who would do the poster art. And these are just a few of them, but they're pretty remarkable. And I found the original Kickstarter here, and you can see it's got some different art than what you see on the cover of Starry Eyes. And they had an art contest, and there were several other contestant. They actually some excellent art. There's one of the early ones that I think is kind of cool. That's my favorite, actually. I like that one better than the one they decided on, honestly. And that's the one that won, I believe. I believe that's the one. They had others as well. Now, since I knew I was going to do this podcast, of course, I wanted to do a lot of research on Widmeyer and Kelch, and which is great because the more I read about them, the more I liked them. I liked how they talked about when their inspirations for Starry Eyes was they actually were going to make a movie several years prior. And this guy that auditioned, he literally stole their script and ran overseas. It's a funny story, but it's kind of long to go into here. But they said during that experience, when they would call people in to audition, that it really struck them how these people who had these ordinary lives like everybody else, they had their jobs, their families, or whatever, would drop everything on their break, come over there, open up their soul, and read lines and try to emote the best they can, be told thank you very much, leave, and not even know if those 10 minutes meant anything or if you were just going back to your drudgery. And I like that. I like that they were very empathetic. So that was one of the things I like. And they also combined it with some of my favorite horror movies. And those are like mid-60s to early 80s women-centric horror movies that are typically women who are pushed to the very edge. Now, a lot of people, they like 80s horror. And yeah, definitely. There's some classics that came from there. You know, there's Poltergeist, there's Alien, there's, almost said E.T. The Fly, lots of other movies like that. The great big mainstream movies, which you know is not my preference. But those movies, and I liked all of them, they were all visceral, that's great too, involving your senses and those kind of scares. And Alien to this day scares the shit out of me. The others not so much, but Alien really does scare me still, the original. But my preference was for like the late 60s and 70s, which is actually kind of a golden time of acting anyway, when there was still the auteur. The director still had control of the movies before Heaven's Gate fucked everything up and the producers took over. Long story. Actually, a whole book's been written on it, and it's really good. But this was... So with Starry Eyes, you get the cult element, like with Rosemary's Baby. You get the psychosexual fuckery from Repulsion. You get the scary bitch pushed to the edge of Carrie. You have the intense body horror of The Entity. And they also said the Red Shoes. Red Shoes. I gotta admit, I haven't been able to work that one out. I mean, like, the movie. Brothers Grimm is bloody and fucked up and shit. But the movie with Maura Shearer. Black Swan, maybe. Maybe I just need to watch it again. Maybe it's more fucked up than I thought. Alright, back to Possession. Remember, Widmeyer's and Kelch's greatest inspiration for Starry Eyes were the old horror movies, the women-centric horror movies from like the mid-60s to late 70s of women who were absolutely, for whatever reason, pushed to the brink of sanity and toppling over. And nowhere is that more apparent than Isabelle Adjani in the tunnel scene. I swear to God, that's one of her more quiet moments. The intensity she brought, it can't be topped. It can't be. It would literally kill someone, and I'm not kidding. Rumors are she tried to kill herself after the movie, and even she admits she had to have years of therapy. Part of that is because Andrei Kowalski wasn't necessarily the nicest director, and he would look for actors' weaknesses and play on them to get the best or worst performance or whatever. He actually even threatened to kill her at one point. So when you watch that scene, it's like, I would end up breaking every bone in my body within 10 seconds. It's phenomenal. The reason I'm coming back to this again is that there have been direct comparisons between Isabelle Adjani and Alex Esso, who stars in Starry Eyes as Sarah Walker, the main character. But here's the difference. Whereas Isabelle Adjani's character, Anna, spends most of the movie going, ah, and then having to go way, way, way over the top to do the tunnel scene. Alex Esso's character, Sarah Walker, usually wears the mask of normality. She is a frustrated, very ambitious actress. She goes to audition after audition. It's not getting her anywhere. She works at this sleazy diner that's obviously modeled after Hooters. She's got some kind of trifling friends. They're sort of passive-aggressive, concerned trolls, and some of them are very competitive. And really, there's only one thing she wants. People can't see beneath the surface of what she really is. But she goes to an audition that goes really sideways and fucked up and weird, and yet that seems to be what they want. And so she starts bringing what they want, and it ends up in a deal. You can say, if you do a surface watch, you can say a Faustian deal, but it's actually a lot more complicated and more original than that. But here she is when she has her nice little Sarah Walker face, her Clark Kent, and then immediately turning on a dime, she has to do this. Now, I don't know about you, but I would not have the guts to go there. You have to reach way down deep into your darkest personal crazy to bring out a full-out berserker like that. I wouldn't do it. I'd be afraid I'd never come back. Or that I'd be like Isabelle Adjani and have to have therapy. But she's able to do it. Alex Esso, and I'm sorry, I mean, the writing's great, the directing's great, the rest of the cast is solid, but if it weren't for Alex Esso, it would be an entirely different movie. She is what takes it over into, I think, a minor classic. And I'm going to be watching for her. She's going to be in a movie, it's a sequel to The Shining called Dr. Sleep, and she is going to be playing Wendy Torrance. And she's, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be ugly to Shelley Duvall, but she's such a better Wendy Torrance. If you've read the book, you know what I'm saying, the physical type that she is. But if for no other reason, Starry Eyes is worth watching for Alex Esso alone. Having said that, Starry Eyes also has a very solid supporting cast. And I was going to kind of go down the line of the cast and talk about it, but they are so good. I think I'd be kind of giving them short shrift if I did that. I think it'd be better as the movie goes along during the performances, point out the actor, talk about their background, what they did very quickly, and what their specialty is, because they are so fucking good. And you're going to want to watch out for them for something else. And also because I'm running longer than I meant to. As usual, this is going to be an ongoing problem, I'm afraid. So I think what I want to do is I'm just going to leave with a couple of thoughts, because I'm really excited about this. There's something I want to tell people so much. But I'm going to leave with two things. One, Estrella Studio, not only is that the name that Kelch and Widmeyer used for their production company, or they did for this movie, I don't know. But also within the movie Starry Eyes, the production company, the kind of dark, sinister production company, is called Estrella Studios. Well, I looked it up. Estrella was like a second-generation titan in Greek mythology. In and of himself, he was kind of a slacker god. I mean, even within the mythology, they talk about, yeah, he didn't do too much, but there is something indirectly that makes it really interesting that never comes out. That I'm sure Widmeyer and Kelch knew this. That part would be a spoiler, so I'm going to hold off on that. But Estrella in itself, the name of the god means starry one. So, kind of cool to know that ahead of time, I think. And also, within the movie, they say again and again and again and again and again, transformation, transformation, transformation. It's formation. Trust me on this. And with the formation, there can come a transformation, but everything they're doing is formation. So, I can't wait till next time, because I can really go deep down and just analyze the shit out of this the way I've been wanting to do for a while. So, I don't know. There's a lot to do, but maybe in a couple of days I'll have it out. And until then, I'll see you then.